Hey, what's up guys? First of all, if you would like to support the channel, you can go ahead and donate to me. My PayPal will be down in the description, so thank you very much. So welcome all once again. I'm here to finish this off with a movie, guys. Yes, the finale of What If Naruto Was the Dark Kryptonian will be ending with this movie, guys. But as you know, there's new what ifs popping up every other day, so there's nothing to worry about. Just keep on commenting your suggestions down below. I jot all of them down for future use, so go ahead and give me your ideas, and I'll be putting it in the doc to post it very soon, guys. So yeah, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Without further ado or wasting more time, let us begin this now, guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto and Lois were getting stronger as the time passed by. The both of them were growing their strength, ensuring that they would be ready after all. After the incident within Konoha, Naruto was marked as one of the most wanted. The price on his head was ridiculously high, and they had to be in hidings to ensure that no one would come and take their life. However, the growing strength that Naruto was gaining was proving to be more phenomenal than anyone could ever believe. Needing to make cash, both Naruto and Lois decided to hunt the members within the bingo book. As they first went after C, D, the lower ranks, finding their strength to be suitable to take on them. Lois was getting stronger with her blood manipulation. Her strength was ever growing, as Naruto's physical strength was growing to unbelievable heights. Not to mention finding out new abilities as he could exhale frozen breath from his mouth. But not only that, his heat vision was getting more and more powerful, and his hearing was also getting more and more advanced. However, they found themselves attacked by an A-rank who was after the bounty on their head. It was the first time that they felt true fear, as Lois got truly hurt. Naruto lost it and gripped his hand around the guy's throat, refusing to let go no matter what, as he squeezed and squeezed and squeezed until his hands was able to grab inside of his throat and snap it off. Naruto collapsed right there and then, pulling himself over toward Lois. It seems that even with his strength growing, such as A-rank ninjas were still strong enough to harm him. However, the rays of the sun was healing him, as Naruto was happy to see Lois back on her feet. Her body was able to repair itself due to the blood that she could manipulate. While that was going on, Danzo Shimura had made great changes to Konoha. The populace was mostly on his side by now, due to the fact that he used the incarceration of those that tried to have Naruto exiled. He used it to boost his campaign, boost his popularity, and boost his power over Konoha. And with Hiruzen now gone, no one was there to step in his way. And Jiraiya, being unable to find Tsunade, Danzo was fully indoctrinated as the Hokage of Konoha, giving him supreme power over how the village is run. And he sees it as a big disappointment. The academy, everything was so much pure disappointment within his eyes. So all of that, yes, it all had to change. Because if it does not change, well, he would be making sure that certain factors of the village will disappear. With that going on, Naruto and Lois kept on growing their strength as years passed by. The both of them found themselves in their early teens. Even Sasuke Uchiha, now graduated from the academy, placed on Team 7 with Sai and a girl known as Sakura Haruno. Sasuke wasn't a fan of either of them, believing that everyone was just holding him back. That is the way of his Uchiha mindset, as he believed it all was just a waste of his time. He should be getting special treatment. Sasuke was a very arrogant child, having no one to contest him, and Danzo had been boosting this arrogance, due to him using it to control Sasuke, realizing that, giving the Uchiha a false sense of security, making him believe that everything that he ever desired was in the clutch of his palm, would allow him to open up more and allow Danzo to control him even more. But for now, the village was aware of Sasuke, so he had to remain in the spotlight. Danzo would be making changes very soon, but for now, he had to remain there. However, things took a dark turn when Zabuza Momochi, Haku, and the Demon Brothers all attacked Lois. She was able to take out the Demon Brothers, but Zabuza and Haku were able to live. But they were shocked by her strength. She was just a young girl and yet she was able to do that. However, as she woke up within the confines of Gato once again, bound and restrained, she wasn't afraid. However, she gave Gato a warning, though. She told him that if he did not free her, he would come. Gato had no idea who she was talking about until he started to put it together. But Gato was actually looking forward to that, wanting to use Naruto to grow his wealth. Due to the beast that the boy contained, there was so much money he could get from that child alone that would push his empire to new levels. So he was hoping for it, but she told him that he was wrong and mistaken. A pissed off Naruto was ready to burn the entire world. As he was able to find one of their men, upon finding said man, he proceeded to threaten him by throwing him into the sky. He released the information, the small amount of information that he knew. Naruto used it to track back as he came across Zabuza Momochi faced off against the Konoha ninjas. When he descended up on the battlefield, all fighting came to a stop. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place and check out the other episodes, and I hope you enjoy this finale guys. So without further ado, or wasting more time, let's begin this now guys. The atmosphere was tense. A tense, glooming sensation could be felt as all of them were standing there. His arms folded, his eyes glowing red. Despite his small stature, the feeling that came from him felt terrifying. Where is she? Naruto said, hovering over the water. Zabuza instantly recognized who this was. His weapon raised. Well, what do we have here? Zabuza said. Seems like a perfect opportunity for one to be quite set up, he said. Speaking about the bounty on Naruto's head, I'm only going to ask you once more. Where is she? Said Naruto. Oh, looking for your little friend. He said that you would come. I suppose she is your weakness. Naruto blitzed forward. Zabuza pulled his blade back. However, the time that it took him to pull his blade back was enough time for Naruto to slam his hand on the grip of it. He brought his other hand down and severed the blade. He grabbed onto the broken piece and launched it. Haku jumped out of the way as the blade sliced across his arm. If he hadn't moved, it would have sliced him in half. Zabuza was stunned. He jumped back, but Naruto crashed into his stomach. Blood flew from his mouth, staining the bandages. Naruto sent him through at least 100 trees. An obscene amount of pain started to build up in his back as Naruto crashed him in the ground and scraped him across it. Zabuza released a violent scream, underestimating Naruto. When Naruto finally came to a stop, Zabuza couldn't even move. His back was a mess as he lay there in pain from the touch that Naruto placed on his stomach alone, causing internal damage as blood spat from his mouth even more like a faucet. He lay there in pain. Back to the others. The only one that was truly able to get a glimpse of what truly happened was Kakashi Hatake. due to his Sharingan, but even Sai, who has been trained from an early age, wasn't able to truly saw what happened. It was mostly a blur. Someone dashed from the foliage and raced as quickly as they could. It was Haku. Sai then spoke up. That is one of the most wanted criminal within Konoha. The both of the children snapped their gaze towards him. What? As they looked towards Kakashi Hatake. Kakashi did not know what to do in this situation. A man that he was about to continue his throwdown with was so easily subdued, but that child was no ordinary child. He was the son of Minato Namikaze, his former teacher. He felt like it was his responsibility to do something about it. However, if Naruto was brought back to Konoha, he would surely be exiled for the crimes that he committed, killing the third Hokage. Kakashi had no idea why he did that. He was a part of the team. He was actually the one that first laid eyes on Naruto when they retrieved him, and now Kakashi did not know the next move to make. Go after him and leave his team here in the open, unknown of the further threats that lie within the shadows. Try to face off against this child that seemed to possess the strength to easily overpower someone like Zabuza. As he found himself hesitating on the choice that he needed to make, as he gazed at his team, they were his first responsibility. Meanwhile, Zabuza found himself pinned down to the ground as Naruto stepped on his arms. The heat vision burst from Naruto's eyes, right beside Zabuza's head as it started to tear across the ground. The words ripped from his throat violently. "Where is she?" Naruto shouted in rage. Even the air itself seemed to tremble. "Stop! Please!" Haku said, landing on the scene, both of his hands raised, seeing the state that his master was in. She's not here. We don't have her." Naruto's gaze focused on Haku, the heat vanishing away. "Where is she?" he said, turning his gaze towards Haku. "We were just tasked in retrieving her. She was handed over to Gato." Naruto's fist clenched. "And where is he located?" I'm not sure, but he is on one of these islands. But he's not here. However, there is a chance that he might take her and leave, unless you move quickly," Haku said, trying to get his master free and protected. "So you were the ones that took her," said Naruto. His eyes glowed red as Zabuza's eyes went wide. The heat vision came down and ripped into Zabuza's skull. Haku released a violent scream. It tore from his throat as the depths of his soul cried out. Haku let loose. His entire body started to freeze as his bloodline was being pushed into overdrive. Seeing the one that he cared about the most, the only one that he chose to live for, die in front of his eyes, he pushed himself beyond the point of return, with only one goal: revenge. Releasing all that rage towards Naruto, created a tsunami of ice that proceeded to swallow Naruto as he tried to freeze him under layers of ice. Rage pouring through him, his tears turning into solid ice as they clattered down to the ground. Watching his master that he cared for, that he loved, died in front of his eyes, shattered his heart and shattered the control over his ability. However, Naruto started to push through it, even as the freezing sensation wrapped around him. Naruto pushed and pushed one arm out until he gripped Haku's throat. Haku's body wasn't able to sustain that kind of release due to the reason why he was unable to move. Naruto then threw him into the sky. Naruto bent his knees and pushed off. His fist collided with Haku's gut. However, given the speed that Naruto was moving at, he burst right through Haku, tearing him in half, both sides falling down. Just like that, both master and servant, both tool and leader, found themselves dead at each other's side. Naruto blitzed around each of the island as fast as he could possibly go. Blitzing around as fast as possible, he searched each and every one of them when he saw her. Lois had a bag over her head, a blade to her throat. As Naruto saw her, surrounded by over a few dozen men, she was currently being transported away. Gato was watching as she was placed on the ship that was there. Naruto blitzed down below. His speed was something they could not stop as he ripped off the arm and threw it away. The guys screamed out as everyone snapped their gaze. Immediately, Naruto's eyes started to glow, blasting through several of them, tearing them limb from limb, their body pieces falling down to the ground. Gato in a panic shouted, realizing that he messed up. Flashback. He's going to come for you. And when he does, the only thing that you will see is his hand tightening around your throat, or his red eyes blasting through your skull. Gato left the room after that warning. He decided to get insurance just in case. After all, no money in the world was worth his life. End of flashback. As Naruto's arm was wrapped around Lois, Gato screamed out, "Do it now!" His emotions got the better of him. Yes, Naruto did not scan anything else but the bag on her head. He scanned through it to see her. If he would have taken his time, due to his rage he did not, he would have noticed that there was something on her chest. Something strapped down. Naruto heard the fizzling sound. He lifted her shirt, but it was too late. A violent explosion went off into Naruto's face, causing the both of them to crash down to the ground. Gato had a specialist with him. Well, not really, just a guy that was smart enough to create paper bombs. The explosion teared through her, a gaping hole in her chest and back. You could see right through it. Your head could fit through it. Naruto stood there, unharmed though, only a few scratches on his face. Gato's eyes went wide. No, that's impossible, he said. After witnessing more than a dozen of his men ripped in half, and so many explosions to the face. So many explosions to the face, barely even scratched him. Naruto's shaky hands removed the gag from her mouth. His hand caressing her cheek. No. Wake up. Wake up, he said, trying to understand why she wasn't waking up. However, his mind was not focusing on the whole right now. It was focusing on the only person in this world that he cared about, lying dead there. He tried to wake her, but she wasn't waking up. It's been a long time since tears came to Naruto's eyes. As they fell, there was nothing there. She was gone. Naruto screamed. The entire islands, every single one of them heard it. Kakashi Hatake snapped his gaze, decided to put his team first, not risking their life. What the hell was that? Sakura said. Nothing good. Sai responded. Let's go, said Kakashi, wanting to get them somewhere safe. Tazuna looked downright terrified. Back with Naruto. You took her away from me. The only thing in this world that mattered to me, and you took her, said Naruto. He looked up, His face did not show rage, but instead, calm. And that was even worse. "Kill him!" Gato shouted. His men hesitated but launched their weapons. Naruto got up as most of them bounced off his skin, scratching him but not strong enough to pierce through. They weren't backed up with chakra, nor did they have the strength to throw them strong enough to pierce him. Naruto started to walk. Two men swing their clubs at him as Naruto grabbed it. He took them away and pushed them through their eye socket, literally, with enough force it ripped through. Two others tried to attack him with kunais. Naruto grabbed their wrists and pulled them down as he grabbed their hair and crushed their head together. Naruto plunged his hand into the earth and raised it, lifting a massive piece of it to squash dozens of them. Gato started to flee for his life. Naruto flew straight into the sky and came back down. One by one, he came down with such force he ripped them in half. Gato collapsed over his own feet in fear. When he turned, he was greeted with those red eyes. What Naruto wasn't focusing on was Lois. As her hands slowly twitched, her body slowly moved. Orochimaru was the one that was behind her experiment, handing it off to someone that specialized in blood more than him. There was a reason why the man decided to betray Orochimaru. He saw something within Lois, something special. And right now we can see it. As her blood, the blood that came from her heart, it was able to pull itself back together. Cells merging back together, twisting and bringing the tissues back together. As destroyed as they were, repairing her once completely destroyed heart with the remnants of those that were left on the ground. Orochimaru thought that his experiment was a failure, but out of all the others, Lois was a special one. That was the reason why Orochimaru was betrayed by someone he believed he could trust, because the man saw it as well. With her, he could have whatever he desired. He could become eternal. And Orochimaru never knew that. And that secret died with that man due to Orochimaru's anger at him. And now, her eyes opened up. Lois was confused. However, she felt tremors going through the ground. She started to walk, feeling a cold sensation as she looked down to realize she had nothing on. She looked around as she saw the remnants of the corpses. She tore one of their shirts and wrapped it around herself. "What's going on?" "Naruto, where are you?" she said. So blind in his rage, Naruto was not even hearing her. She continued to walk until she saw him. The screams did not come anymore. Naruto was not planning on killing Gato. Instead, Naruto was dissecting him piece by piece. First, he removed the fingers, then the toes. Naruto was making sure Gato experienced pain that would make him understand what he was feeling, make him understand a fraction of what he had right now. The cold loneliness, this overwhelming pain that was going to destroy him, that would eventually destroy everything around him. Naruto paused, now that she was right behind him. Gato no longer had a lower lip. To be quite frank, most of the skin off his face was already peeled off. And his torso was, well, a mess. There was only stumps left. His hands were gone. His legs had been removed. The super heat from his eyes had cauterized the wounds, making him, well, stop bleed out. Gato was experiencing pain that no man should ever experience. Naruto stuffed his own flesh down his throat to stop him from crying out. so that he could simply be silenced with his pain as he was choking on his blood. However, as he turned, he blitzed towards her. Unlike others who would step away, she stepped into his embrace. His hand slowly came up and caressed her cheek. You're alive," he said, tears running down his face as he rested his head against hers. "You're alive." He openly cried in joy as he pulled her in. "I'm okay," she said. "I'm here." "It's all right now," she said, trying to calm him. Knowing what would have happened, she did warn Gato. Over the years that they spent together, the both of them have come to rely on one another. They would both kill for each other without hesitation, because they realized that they had nothing but one another in this world. Yes, they only had each other to count on. And time after time again, everything had proven to show them that they had to make sure each other survived, because without the other, one could not hope to go on without becoming something that would, well, irreparable to their own sense of identity. It would be truly irreparable. As Naruto held her close in his arms, refusing to release her. His rage was something, but in the back of his mind, Naruto could feel the loneliness, the emptiness, knowing that he would never connect to anyone like he connected to Lois. Maybe it was them meeting through trauma that made them so close in the beginning, but now things were different. As Naruto knew, people might say that he was young, inexperienced despite what he just did. However, Naruto knew that he loved her. And as she gazed at him, seeing the aftermath of him thinking that she was lost, most people would be terrified, afraid by his strength, but she loved him. They were young, but they loved each other, and nothing would ever change that. Naruto did not finish Gato off. He allowed time to do that. As he made his way, he allowed time to swallow Gato in everlasting pain. They needed to get out of here. All he wanted to do was make sure that she was okay, and she was. However, this also opened up a larger avenue for Lois, and her strength as well, and her abilities. Her heart was destroyed, pieces that remain, the blood that still circulated through her body. Does this mean she was immortal? There was so much questions there that needed answers. However, there was someone that could give them answers though. That man was a global threat. Orochimaru. Time skip. Bloodshed. Chaos. Disaster. Death. That was a thought running through the mind of Kakashi Hatake as he looked at what was left. Screaming, crying all around him. Kakashi was tired. Insanely so. He was tired. He didn't know if he could keep on going. He had overused his Sharingan. He could barely see within the eye. Everything was becoming so much more blurry. Buildings were on fire. The corpses of young, old. Everything was all around him. So much death. So much destruction. Kakashi Hatake gazed upwards as he saw Might Guy as he was covered in the aura of the Seven Gate. However, in front of him was a massive Bichu bomb. The copy ninja eyes went wide. Flashback. Things were going well. Team 7 mission was a success. After their run-in with Naruto, they did not see him again. The information was reported in, and it seems like a search party had been let out, but they were unsuccessful. Once again, Naruto seemed to have fallen off the map. Everything was going well as months flew by. Team 7 was growing in strength. Sasuke even awakened the Sharingan. The Chunin exams then came around. It was there that things started to change up. Danzo Shimura was making sure that security was high for the upcoming exams. Him and Orochimaru were not on good terms. Ever since Danzo became the Hokage, Danzo led an assault to assassinate the Sannin. A former meeting between Danzo Man and Orochimaru, which resulted in the entire place going up in a violent explosion, even killing his man that was sent there. Orochimaru desired more now that Danzo was Hokage, given the numerous amount of work they have done in the past. Orochimaru was trying to use that against him to try to tarnish his name in the public eye. So Danzo proceeded to eviscerate him, sacrificing his pawns for the greater good. Since then, there has been no sighting of the Sannin, but Danzo could not shake the feeling despite the fact that there was the remains of the Sannin there. He still could not shake the feeling that something was wrong, that somehow the Sannin had survived, even how ridiculous it sounded. But still, Orochimaru was a man of many talents, but Danzo had sent two of his best in order to enact this plan, trying to trick the Sannin in that he was handing over classified detail in order to aid him, that the both of them would work together, but there was absolutely no one that would stand by his side and take power away from him. The future of Konoha was in his hand and nothing would change that. Speaking about the future of Konoha, his team had already been dispatched to bring Tsunade Senju back to the village. This was an order from her Hokage. This was not a request, an order it was. Hiruzen was too naive and weak to order her to do what was necessary. But now things are going to change. Jiraiya also needs to make more appearance in the village as well. Yes, he was well aware about his spine at work, however, the village needs to look more united more than ever before. After the death of Hiruzen, public appearance outside of the Land of Fire started to lessen on them, believing that their strength has been diminishing over time. But Danzo wanted to prove all of them wrong. So far, he has been buying his time in order to solidify himself as the current Hokage, and that nothing would change that. He had to step away a bit from his darkness pursuit to conquer the elemental nation, and that troublesome boy was running around with the most powerful weapon within his gut, and they still haven't pinpointed him yet. Danzo cursed under his breath about that, but things will remain stable as they are. Yes, they will. Unfortunately though, Danzo was wrong. As the Chunin exam took place, an attack was launched on Konoha from all sides. Raza was convinced by Orochimaru. Danzo believed him to be dead, but he said it himself, Orochimaru was a man of many tricks. Danzo himself would not risk his life, but seeing the evidence, he fooled himself in believing that the Sannin had been truly destroyed, but he was wrong. Orochimaru was smart and insanely fast and powerful as well, taking the loss, making his enemies believe that he was gone, using that to his advantage. However, the problem was, it wasn't only the sand, and it wasn't only the sound a village that Orochimaru was now controlling. When they saw the massive 4-tailed beast within the horizon, Danzo understood what was going on. He understood it rather well. They were all against him. Konoha outside look has been seen as pathetic, as Orochimaru used that to his advantage. Flashback. Two powerful men was currently having a conversation about the well-being and future of another village. As you can see, the Sannin said, the village has been weakened even more, and now, without the Nine Tails to protect them, no Jinchuriki, no true power to bat them. Join me, and you will get your fair share of Konoha. once we crush it into the ground. I should inform you as well. We are not the only ones that see the benefit of attacking the hidden leaf now. I've already spoken to another. Raza clenches fists angrily, knowing that Orochimaru was using this to blackmail him. Konoha was the Sand's biggest ally, and if they did not make this move with him, he was trying to say that him and the other would come after the Sand next. However, Raza also needed this for the beneficial growth of his own village. Due to Konoha taking most of the missions, even their own daimyo was sending his way. Due to the fact that the land of fire, Konoha itself, the village, was growing in strength. In terms of their ninja qualities, no, that was a strange part. Despite losing so much, despite losing the third Hokage, their ninja were still top quality. That is why it will require all three. Orochimaru ventured beyond and found himself within the residence of a rather dangerous location. The man was small, floating in the air. However, don't let his size deceive you, as he gave Orochimaru's final warning. If you step against me in the final moments, I will push the full force of my village to serve only one purpose: to find you and erase your entire essence from this world. Oniki, a very powerful veteran, told Orochimaru. However, the Sannin needed help. He needed more help. Orochimaru was able to round up everything that he had. All the enemies of the fourth, all the enemies of the third, along with the backing of the hidden stone, the sand, and the sound. They all descended upon the hidden leaf like a violent storm. Sasuke Uchiha, as he saw chaos was reigning around him, he started to go after the mad Jinchuriki Gaara, but the moment Sasuke jumped over the wall, he was met with another. A white-haired young man that buried his fist in his stomach before chopping him in the back of the neck. His name was Kimimaro, and his job has been completed as he picked the Uchiha up and fled. As chaos reigned on the Hidden Leaf village, it wasn't one, it wasn't two, but three tailed beasts on each side. The Sand Jinchuriki reached its destination and released the power. However, Gaara did not allow Shikaku to take control. Gaara retained a semblance amount of control, as he did not put himself to sleep. The power driving him made him more insane as he started to decimate all of the frontline forces. The Sand Ninjas started to pull back. Raza immediately attacked Danzo. They came out of the foliage as they were hidden by Raza. They were there as his guards. The Sound Ninja as they trapped Danzo. Orochimaru slipped in before the veil came up. Danzo was pissed. Let me guess. You thought I was dead, Orochimaru said, with a smile on his face. Danzo turned his gaze towards Raza. Is this really the move you want to make? Stand by Konoha now, or face the wrath once Konoha decimate all those that stand in front of her. I will give you only one chance. Stop this foolish attack, otherwise, your village will be shown no mercy. Enough talk. You don't have enough sway or power like Hiruzen to send fear into anyone. And you certainly don't have enough power like the fourth Hokage. So it doesn't matter what you say. This has already been pushed to its limit. The only finishing goal here is your death. And Konoha will be consumed by everything and everyone around it. Orochimaru made things a lot worse when he summoned 4 coffins. The fourth one failed though. But the most regrettable gaze was, oh no. Hiruzen said. Oh yes, Orochimaru said with a smile. How does it feel, Sensei, to know that by your hands, you will bring death and destruction to your own village? Hiruzen started to plead with the Sannin, having the loss of control to not do anything about this. But it was too late. Orochimaru assigned the Sound Ninjas to drop that section of the barrier as he put all of the Ikages under his control. He sent out the third as he had the other two attack Danzo. However, Danzo had something special up his sleeve. But that on itself was truly bad because the one that actually aided him with this was actually Orochimaru. As both Tag 11 ninjas dashed towards Danzo, including the Kazekage as well. On the outside, Konoha was being swallowed. Ninjas from the depths of all sorts of creation rose up. As Konoha was weak in their eyes, Hiruzen was gone Danzo, despite what he has. As his root ninjas descended upon the battlefield, the enemy was just simply too overwhelming. Boom! An explosion went off in the center of the goddamn village as a bomb launched from one of the beasts ripped through everything. Things became worse when the four tails proceeded to vanish away, only to be discovered, reawakening that power right in the dead center, causing mayhem and chaos. The Yakimichis grew to their full size as they tried to take on the beasts. However, they were injured by the countless forces that attacked them from all sides. Konoha was trying his best to protect its people, and Orochimaru knew that. Attacks were launched towards the massive stone heads, blasts causing great damages to the structure and killing those on the inside. It was a mess. Konoha was being ransacked. Konoha was being outpowered, outgunned. It was being crushed under the might of three. Was this it? Would Konoha actually lose? Would the land of fire fall with their village? Will this be it? The end of the Hidden Leaf village? As attacks rained from left to right. Meanwhile that was going on, Naruto could be seen on a very high cliff. His eyes closed. He could hear them. He could hear them. The months that passed by, everything about him got stronger. But it wasn't just him. After reconstructing her own heart, Lois found herself able to do things that was never possible before. It was almost like she awakened a different side of her. Her power grown exponentially. Her strength, as she could use her blood in ways now that was never possible before. Naruto stood there as she appeared behind him. You can still intervene if you want to, she said. He told her what he was hearing. Naruto turned towards her. I won't, he said, as he looked at her. I know that you're angry at everything, upset, but that was still your home once. She wanted to know. She didn't want one day for him to regret the actions that he's taken today. Naruto took both of her hands in his. It was. But those people were more than willing to sold me out. They paid money in order to get me kidnapped. And they were happy. They were happy that I was gone. It's not my home anymore, said Naruto. All of the war and chaos that has taken place, the violence that that village has caught up itself in, they're partly to blame as well. None of them is innocent. After I almost lost you, it made me realize how truly messed up this world is. And the only one I can truly count on is you. Naruto said, stepping closer to her. Lois just looked at him as Naruto leaned in and kissed her. For the first time, she pulled back slightly before she leaned back in and kissed him. She has wanted to do this for some time now, but she was nervous. She didn't know why. They've been together for so long, but she was happy. As he wrapped his arm around her and embraced her, he could hear them, but Naruto did not go. That wasn't his home anymore. And the only one that he desired to protect was right here. Back in the village, Jiraiya of the Sannin was swamped as he was being attacked on all fronts. Taking heavy breaths, they just kept on coming and coming. He heard something behind him as he turned to see Orochimaru standing there. A calm look came on the Sannin's face as he looked towards his one-time teammate. To think, you would do this to a place that you once called your home. You've really embraced the darkness that you've set yourself for, haven't you? A very long time ago, yes I have. Orochimaru said, stepping forward. Can't you see? Your attacking is pointless. Your strength is futile here. Konoha is being overrun, overwhelmed. I am not the only one that desire the leaf to fall. After the loss of the fourth Hokage, your name was already tarnished. After the loss of the Uchiha, things became worse. And with Hiruzen now dead, everyone realized that your village is not strong enough. That is why I was able to get so much support. And with it, we shall crush you. Jiraiya cursed under his breath, having already summoned several toads in order to aid with the massive beasts that were wrecking through the village. And he did not have time to enter Sage mode. He was going off his own. Orochimaru spat out the Kusanagi blade. Let us have a final duel, shall we? As he sped towards Jiraiya with his blade extended. Chaos reigned all over the village. Death and destruction took place. Minutes turned into hours, and hours turned into days, as the remnants of the hidden leaf was being picked apart. Sacrificing his life, Might Guy pushed himself to the limit as he opened the Forbidden 8 gate. With brute force alone, Might Guy was able to wipe out 2 of the tail beasts. Yes, you heard that right. He proceeded to demolish the 4 tails and 5 tails. As they launched their final tail beast blast, he tried to stop it. Kakashi Hatake trying to use the power of his Mangekyo Sharingan, but lacking the strength as the explosion eviscerate quarter of Konoha. Furthermore, adding on to the body count, Might Guy lashed out with a fury as he beat the tail beasts until they were no longer. As he fought, he started to slow down. The effects of the 8 gates, the strain on his body as the reinforcements from the hidden stone rushed in. The village was being crushed. They couldn't handle it. And the damn one tail started to release more sand. Buildings were being collapsed in on themselves. Konoha was going to fall. Time skip. Everything has changed. Weeks passed by since the attack on the Hidden Leaf village, and everything has changed. There were so many orphans that were now roaming through the world. The stronger ninjas that were able to survive had taken many and flee, realizing that staying meant death sentence for all of them. Things became worse within the end where the Hidden Stone, their forces arrived, more than Konoha could handle, having already lost so much due to the tail beasts. Might Guy took his final breath. Jiraiya of the Sannin sacrificed himself as he took down the One Tails, saving a lot. But in doing so, his life was put to an end. Orochimaru made sure that his final breath was taken in front of his eyes. Danzo Shinura wasn't strong enough to fend off against the Hokages. Having already knew about the technique, Orochimaru plotted for that. And once they were finished, they lay waste. Through the hidden leaf, wood style, water style, and 5 different natures from the third. Konoha had to leave. Konoha was the citizens after all. The survivors had to flee for their life or risk capture. Countless of their forces were captured and kidnapped. Further use for future strength. Oniki, having seen the success, arrived towards a desolate land that was once the most mightiest village. Rasa was also there as well, having put in his participation. Everything that Konoha once had was now going to be used for their own good. It wasn't just a land or the equipments, the money that was there. It was the people, the bloodlines. The only powerful clan that was truly left within the village was the Hyugas. They were the strongest. However, with the fall of Konoha, things became a lot worse. So much worse. As Kumo started to step in, causing major problems, as they desire to also boost their strength. The Raikage would not just stand by and watch other nations rise over his with that amount of strength. Orochimaru did not dare to venture towards the Land of Lightning due to his last, session with them, and he was wanted there. However, Kira also stepped in. With Konoha falling, there was so much land and resources as the Land of Fire. Despite the daimyo forces, it was going to be conquered. However, hundreds of other villages, the small minor ones, they realized that they need to make a move as well, as the world was going to be thrown into chaos. Despite the hatred that many village had for Konoha, it was keeping the balance. And with Konoha now gone, it was pure chaos all around. As minor villages that were once allied with Konoha was being targeted, weeks passed by, months passed by, until they turned into 3.5 years. 3.5 years of war, chaos and death. The elemental nation was showing no peace for any time soon. As this conflict has triggered many different reactions, so many changes, the world was reverting back to a time where no one could live in peace. And it has been so now for the past couple of years, and it was only getting more and more corrupted and worse. At the moment, standing on his tower, gazing down towards his village, he's been fending off attacks for a long time now. The organization known as the Akatsuki, led by Pain, was no more. It started with the news, after which Itachi Uchiha, he left the organization. No reason, no cause, he simply left. He was gone. Soon after, both rings belonging to Hidan and Kakazu were destroyed. Hidan desired to revel in this lawful world, and Kakazu desired to be rich beyond his wildest imagination, due to the main fact that the world had no law right now. But given enough time, something that he will be there for, given his, immortality, the laws will return. But by then, his accumulation would be beyond anything that he's gotten so far. They seem to not realize that they were dealing one of the most dangerous men. However, they took that in stride as they left, desiring to find something more for themselves. Know that the Akatsuki seemed to be just, nothing. As a mercenary was finding a extremely difficult time right now to get a job, given how things were. Nations that never found themselves caught up in war, small villages were trying to be conquered by the larger ones. Even minor villages were looking to conquer small villages that were just not on their level. The whole world was in chaos right now. Hidan and Kakazu, they followed after Itachi. And then Deidara and none other than Sasori. Sasori desired to hunt down and find suitable candidates to become a part of his puppet army. An army that he would span so large that no one will touch him. His desire was to turn every single person within this world a part of his army. Deidara simply wanted to show the entire world his art. It was all in chaos right now and they deserved to see it. Despite the threats and warning that came from their leader, they all dispatched. The only person that remained loyal was none other than Kisame. Zetsu was having a very difficult time locating the tail beast. Given how the world was set right now, the larger nations were ensuring that the tail beasts would not be taken from them. Taki was attacked by a massive troop from Kumo. There was countless casualties, and the 7-tailed Jinchuriki was taken over a year ago. And the 3-tailed beasts that reside in Kumo, 2, 8, and now 7, were nowhere to be seen. The 5 and 4 tails were destroyed, and they still did not return as of yet. The 3 tails had been killed some time ago, due to the altercation with the civil war within Kiri, and a woman known as Mei Terumi took the spot there. She has been fending off attacks on her home. Due to them going through a civil war, many believe that they were still weak. Yes, the whole world was in chaos. Utsukata, the 6-tailed Jinchuriki, was nowhere to be seen, and the 1 tail had been recently recaptured by the Sand after it had reformed itself. And the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, well, no one has seen the 9-tailed Jinchuriki for years now. Perhaps the child had died, and the tail beast was in the process of returning back to the world. That has to be it, because it was just, well, it was gone. No one had seen Naruto. However, the bounty on his head was null and void right now, given the remains of Konoha, which was, well, just the few people that were still alive out there in the world. As Pain stood on his tower, the world was broken. His desire to create a weapon to show them about their misdeeds and chaos was pointless now. It's time that he fix it. It's time that he take it. Because he realized something. These people, they don't deserve to lead because all they do is commit genocide and chaos. He will take the power away from them that they have to rule over their own. He will be the one to control them all. Meanwhile, Itachi Uchiha has been searching. However, Orochimaru has been running. The Sannin was up to something. Yes, he was up to something. Up to something very secretive. The reason why he's been hiding away from Itachi. After hearing about what happened to Konoha and his brother being missing, he knew that there was only one culprit that was behind the kidnapping of his brother. All of this. He did all of this for his brother's future. For him to be seen as a hero when he eventually took him down. So now, none of this, the Akatsuki, his life, nothing was important anymore. He just wanted to find Sasuke. Where there's a will, there's a way. That there was a slight percentage that Sasuke was still alive. That was all he could hope for. Meanwhile, after the chaos that took place in Konoha and losing so many, we find Kakashi Hatake. Kakashi and a few others had survived the chaos, having fled to their allies, who gave them aid. They moved around a lot in the past couple of years, as there was a hunt out for the head of Konoha ninjas, the stronger ones who survive, knowing that the retaliation would come. The Hidden Stone, the Sand, they want to make sure that if Konoha ninjas were still breathing, they will be under their control. Asuma Saratobi was still amongst them. Kurenai Iwai, Uncle Mitarashi and a few others. My guy was no longer here. Jiraiya was no longer here. Genma. A lot had died during the chaos. But a few were still here. Most of them had split up over Konoha allies given the numbers of them, not wanting to draw the attention. However, things were getting so bad that they were forced to actually step out and aid their sanctuary. They had no idea though how much longer this would last, before the greater nations decide to use their full force to conquer them. They had no idea about the reconstruction of the tailed beast. With that power under the hidden stone, they would use it to conquer almost any minor village. And Kakashi found himself unable to do much about it, as he and the top Jonins had rallied together. The Inoshika-cho, most of the elders that were there, they had died during the attack, putting their life on the line so most of the younger generation, aka their children, could survive. Kakashi still had the heart and the will of fire burning to do something about it. Not to mention, they recently got aid from Tsunade Senju. Perhaps it was guilt, rage at herself for not being there after Hiruzen demise, but now we're home. She was actually joining back the rebellion forces of the remaining Konoha ninjas to do something about this. Luckily, the Land of Fire daimyo had survived and fled. They still had a base, while their home might be corrosive and swallowed by desolate ninjas from all over. Where there's a will, there is a way to return, and they will get it. So that was basically the state of the world at the moment, and it was not getting better anytime soon. However, at the moment, beyond Earth atmosphere, floating in that void, that black empty void of space. However, his gaze was focused on something though. The brilliant light that radiated off of him. It's been 3.5 years. Learning that he could actually breathe within the depths of space was something that surprised him. The closer he got, the more his power grew, the more he soaked in the sun. Naruto was there, in mid-air, relaxing. His eyes closed as the rays of the sunshine washed over him. He'd grown a lot. Yes, almost 17, he has grown a hell of a lot. His spiky hair, pronounced as ever. His crystal eyes closed, but his face was set in a relaxed posture. One of the big changes was his height, now standing at 6'2". Naruto has trained a hell of a lot. His natural strength was something, but learning how to properly control that natural strength. They have received help over the years. However, the clothing that Naruto was now wearing was expensive due to his, ungodly amount of strength. He needed something strong enough to withstand him, specially made with Fuinjutsu and a very, very special material. Naruto opened his eyes as he heard the voice. It took seconds for Naruto to touch down on the earth, showing how drastically his speed has grown. A smile immediately greeted his features as he saw her. Lois had changed a lot. Her hair was now red like blood itself. Her eyes, they also mimicked the color of her hair as well, but there was a tiny black dot in each. And her physical feature as well. Most would die to even get a good look at her. As Naruto stepped towards her, a smile on his face. Lois had learned a lot about herself. It wasn't only that she could simply control her blood. After basically dying and reconstructing herself, as the years passed by, she learned so much more. You could not say that the one that experimented on her wasn't a genius, because he was well aware of what the future might bring for her. That is why he betrayed Orochimaru, and he was smart to do so, because Lois was now beyond a human. There was only one thing that needed to be said to show you she could revive the dead, and that was all that needed to be said. Both her and Naruto started to walk as they found themselves standing on a cliff. They gazed down below. Down below was an army of 10,000. Now you might think this was insignificant due to the numbers around them, but look closer. Their eyes was completely red, devoid of their own connection. They were known as blood soldiers, as they were only loyal to Lois. Both her and Naruto had seen the state of the world after the fall of Konoha, and they haven't intervened not even once, because they knew when they do, they will have to be strong enough to back up their words, as they understood what needs to be done in order to fix this broken world. That is why, as her army of 10,000 stands strong, but those people down there weren't normal humans that would die from a simple blade to the heart. That is what made them very, very scary. However, beneath them was something much more ferocious. Creatures that should never see the likes of day. But they were all constructed and controlled by her. It is all finished, she said, looking towards Naruto. Now we can make a change. There is no going back once we begin. Naruto leaned in and locked lips with her. As they broke apart, you could see the resolve within his eyes. It's the only way to fix it, he said, as he started to slowly levitate off the ground. I'll be back soon, he said to her. He took off, tearing through the sky as he moved. She gazed down towards her army as she extended her hand. Slowly, their bodies started to liquefy along with their clothing. All of it flew right into her as she started to hover off from the ground, manipulating her blood, allowing her to fly. Meanwhile, Naruto stood tall as he gazed down towards the land of grass, using their forces to dominate several other small countries. They have done unspeakable things to the captors. Their shinobis have done things that were truly and utterly horrendous, using the instability between the nations to grow their power in any way that was possible. Naruto touched down in the center of the village, which mostly comprised of shinobis. All eyes turned towards him. As his eyes started to glow, time skip. Word spread quickly around. The elemental nation, the survivors of the land of grass, the only people that survived were civilians. Every shinobi down to the last one was killed. Every last one of them. None of them could stop the unstoppable force that ravaged through their home and slaughtered without hesitation. However, that wasn't the only thing that he left behind. His words, spreading far and wide. The dawn of shinobi was over. Surrender or die. The word started to spread towards the major nations as they realized that they might have a problem on their hand. However, things became worse when another village, but instead, it wasn't attack. It was their chakra. Every single shinobi within that village, they were unable to use chakra anymore. They had the standard amount to keep on living, but to mold it and produce it outwards, it was impossible. Answers. Everyone wanted answers, fearing this outcome more than ever before. The former shinobis of these villages were brought to much larger nations to speak on the actions that took place. A man, once powerful in his own right, he was a Jonin level ninja, spoke about what happened. It was two of them. They came. Their hair blonde and red. The woman, she could manipulate her blood in ways that I can't even understand, he said. And the things that followed behind them. Our leader quickly realized that if we fight, we will all die. He surrendered, but upon doing that, she did something. She manipulated her blood into the sky that surrounded the entire village. One by one as we tried to resist. However, when we did, the man, blonde spiky hair, I remember those glowing eyes. He burned them to sunders. The man lifted his shirt. This is what remains. On his skin was a strange pattern of all the points in his body where chakra produced a mole outside. The man was thoroughly scanned by Kumo, the stone Kiri, all the great nations as San. Well, he was not done by all of them as others were brought there to try to understand this. And there is nothing that they could do. The process seemed to be irreversible. From what they were seeing, all 361 points were corrupted. The blood within the body was able to forcefully close the points. You would think that this was reversible because the Hyugas are able to do it. However, on a much deeper scan, as they went even deeper, they realized the points, they weren't just the covering of the 361 chakra pathway. That was only the first layer of what she had done to these people. When the pattern truly came into focus, you would notice that it was a strange blood sigil that was placed on all of them. She used her power to regulate her target bloodstream, mapping their chakra pathway in real time while she was there. This could be done from a far distance. Once, she had a sample. With Naruto's speed, he was able to cover the entire village in a matter of minutes. Every single person had a nick or a slice somewhere, and that was all given to her. She then proceeded to map out the blood sigil in the ear, targeting the chakra points within the body. The sigil then burned itself like a virus within their chakra pathway, completely destroying it, reversing years of evolution that mankind have come to truly understand. This wasn't just for them. Any child that was born after this will also be unable to truly use chakra, as she was able to reverse evolution itself. It took some time for her to be able to do something like this. However, both her and Naruto saw it as the only solution. This world was too broken to be fixed. They had to start over, and they had to start over without shinobis. Just like that, as the weeks passed by, Naruto and Lois went over. Every minor nation found themselves. Some tried to fight, but those who tried to fight were swallowed by creatures that were formed from blood, or the blonde Superman who could simply punch a hole through you with so little effort. The blonde Superman that could tap you on the skull and knock you out. The both of them together was too frightening, and they were taking over the entire world by subduing it all. They were moving from one side to the other. However, they came to a pause as someone was now in their path. So they've come, said Naruto. Lois nodded. A woman had greeted Lois. It seems like she wanted this due to the fact that Lois wasn't hiding. They were actually expecting this, waiting. Blue hair, amber eyes. Her body was able to craft papers. They would like to speak with this couple about their intentions, their desires. Konan was sent here by Nagato, the mastermind behind Pain and the organization. Things between him and the masked man were at a standstill at the moment given the world proximity and the changes that need to be made before that will truly happen. And Nagato believed that controlling the world was better than completely destroying a large part of it. And the masked man wasn't fond of that idea, because he had some other purpose for the power that Nagato would be gathering. So now, it seems like someone else had started to, well, cause great changes. So much so that the other nations, the great nations, they were going to have a meeting as they were afraid of the unstoppable couple waiting nearby, but not close that much to the border of his home. Standing there as the essence of the rain pulled down, they descended from the skies like deity themselves. They agreed to meet with you really quickly, Conan said. This might be bad, she said to him. However, he was ready for that. Within the shadows, there were the other paths of pain. If things did not go the way he desired, they both will be crushed right here and now. As both Naruto and Lois landed on the ground, they both stepped forward as Naruto said a name. Pain was rather shocked as the words left his lips. Nagato Uzumaki, it's nice to finally meet you. He extended a hand. Nagato couldn't understand. How do you know that name? He questioned. Naruto lowered his hand, seeing a shake was not coming. We've been MIA to the world for years. We've used that time to gather information. Trust me, it's not hard when you can see and hear almost everything, Naruto said in a calm tone. We were waiting for you to make contact with us. I'm sure that you two have seen that there's only one way to fix this broken world. I understand that you have your plans, but this is the way to truly fix it. And the only way to stop mankind from truly ripping itself apart is to take the tools away to do that. But doing so isn't the finale. There needs to be structure, formation, understanding. And you two desire to bring such understanding to the world as well. That is the main reason why we waited for you to make contact first. To show you that we do not come as an enemy, but as future allies. To fix the reality that neither one of us want to continue. In order to do so, everyone has to make sacrifices. That is why every single ninja within your village also have to have their chakra sealed away forever, as we outlaw and disband the concept of shinobi forever. Nagato's gaze seemed to harden as he gazed towards the man in front of him. The Rinnegan was not giving him anything, which was strange. He did not feel any sort of overwhelming chakra emanating from Naruto. No overwhelming power, just this calm sense. However, that girl behind him, everything about her seemed to be so twisted and corrupted. A strange dark source hang within the depths of her soul. And if I were to refuse this? He asked, looking towards Naruto, hearing what he has to say. As I said, sacrifice has to be made, said Naruto. There is no one on this planet that will stop us from building the world that we desire. So refuse if you must. He said as he turned his back. We will be back in a couple of days, and we will come for your answer then. I found them, Lois said to Naruto. Good, said Naruto. As the two of them took off, Conan looked towards Nagato before gazing back upwards, watching them as they flew away. She turned towards him, wanting to hear what he has decided, but as he turned and walked away, She knew him. She knew that he simply would not bow down to anyone like that. However, as she searched her mind and feelings, questioning if this was the right way, time and time again, throughout the 3 great wars that had taken place, and a 4th on its way, and it seems like it would be a constant endless cycle of chaos, could taking away the source and rebuilding a structure, an environment without chaos, truly be what to do. They wouldn't just be controlling, they would be starting over everything. Time skip. Naruto gazed downwards. As he saw the turtle island, he lowered himself. Lois had her soldiers scouring the world, finding everything that might be out of his earshot or his sight. While some of them mostly weren't, there were some aspects due to this turtle being special in many different ways. However, it wasn't just that. It was everything taking place at once. Lois extended both of her hands. The blood, a single drop, went into the water. Before it was completely dyed red, the entire section around the turtle was surrounded in the red liquid. She then brought her hand up. It immediately came to a stop, like it was on solid stone. Everything that was within on the inside suddenly was thrown. Confusion was raising. Meanwhile, the 7-tailed Jinjulki, her name was Fu. She had been captured from her home, but she wasn't tortured or treated badly. If anything, she was treated nice. And there were also 2 other Jinjulkis here. They say that it was for her protection, but she knew that they desired to control her and the power inside of her. She was suddenly thrown as she was confused. What's going on? She said, looking around. That is when she saw Yujito, the 2-tail holder, running towards her. We've been found out. What? She said. Meanwhile, making his way up on the turtle shell, as he found himself gazing upwards along with the Kumo ninjas that were at his side. It was Killer B. So that's him, huh? No more than a child. This is going to be a quick fly, he said. The tail beast was annoyed by his rapping and told him to focus. He too have also heard about the things that this so-called child was able to do. Lois landed. We are not here to kill you, she said. After we take your tail beast, I will keep you alive. Surrender yourself and you won't have to get hurt. I'm afraid that's not gonna happen. As the Kumo ninja stepped forward, the only ones that's gonna get hurt here is you. One of them dashed towards her, swinging his blade. However, before he could, a hand ripped through his gut. He was confused as he looked behind him to see one of his own friends as his body changed. As the red, palish complexion with a strange suit of armor. It was one of Lois' soldiers. He pulled his hand out. Another slammed a powerful axe in his back, only for him to twist himself around it as he gripped him by the throat and crushed him in the earth. Several explosive tags were launched towards Lois and her creations as they went off in a boom. When the smoke and dust cleared though, she was completely unharmed, the creation expanding his body large enough to take the blast head on. Only for a powerful strike to slam into it, sending it sailing away. It was Killer B, coated within the tail beast's power. He put his hand in the air ready to shout, but something hit into him as he and that thing was gone. And it was Naruto. That is when Yujito and the 7-tailed Jinjulki Fu arrived. As they were ready to fight. It seems you two don't understand when you're outmatched, Lois said. She extended her hand, and forming from her blood were creatures of all kinds. 3 colossal dragons that were a quarter of the size of the turtle, which was truly frightening. And at least 100 of her soldiers surrounded them where they stood. As they all arrived in an instant, they gazed over as they saw the eight-tails form out of nowhere. Killer Bee was trying his best to stop Naruto, who was sending him sailing across the sea, but unable to, so he released the full power. He gripped Naruto with his large hand and raised him. "Now you're mine," he said as he brought him down, trying to clap his hand together, which he was successful in doing. However, his hand started to be pushed apart. His hand snapped open as Naruto was hovering there. "You were warned," he said. Naruto's eye beams crashed into his chest, causing him a horrendous amount of pain as the tail beast crashed into the water. However, he was part octopus after all. Rising up, he threw a fist, but Naruto stopped it. He swung all 8 of his tentacles, trying to crush Naruto, but Naruto zipped through them all and flew into the sky. He gazed up as he saw the sun. Boom! Naruto's fist crashed down on him. The entire body of water reverberated violently. Flying beneath him, Naruto flew upwards, lifting him in the sky. He grabbed a tentacle and spun until they became blurs as he released him. Beating the velocity, Naruto was able to best his time and drop down in him. A violent free fall as he crashed violently into the sea. "This is bad, B," the eight-tail said, as the both of them shared the pain and they could feel it. A single blow was like being hit from one of their brethren, and that was the nine-tailed fox. They had to, as they started to form the tail beast bomb underwater. The water started to swirl and bubble as Naruto flew downwards. They launched it. Premature, but they launched it. The laser vision shot from Naruto's eyes and clashed with it. The eight-tails tried to add more force. Naruto released a violent roar that sent the heat visions blazing through with more power and weight that the tail beast bomb became unstable and exploded, further pushing the eight-tails into the water as it tried to rise up. By the time it reached the surface, it could not see Naruto anywhere. It burst out, looking rather damaged as it tried to pinpoint where exactly Naruto went. That is when it felt something. It turned. The water was splitting in half as Naruto was flying at a much higher velocity. The eight-tails tried to guard itself, but its speed was not fast enough. The blow that Naruto sent into its face caused a ripple effect that unstabilized the entire surrounding. The water itself opened up a gap so large you could see the bottom of the ocean. As Naruto's blow sent the thing sailing and crashing into the turtle island. As it started to sink to the bottom, Naruto flew down, and when he came back up, he was holding the unconscious bee as he threw him down. Arriving to see that Yujito and Fu were both restrained. From their head to their toe, every single part of their body was locked up, with small pieces of the blood acting like threads going through their chakra system, preventing them from summoning on the power of their beasts. Not to mention the countless so-called guards, which were all over to the side, either dead or unconscious. Now that their greatest weapons were gone, not that he couldn't drop all of them even without taking away the tail beasts, but it was to make them understand, because if they did not understand, they will all die. Time skip. Naruto was walking as he stepped through the foliage. As he came to a stop when he saw them, he remembered that one. Kakashi Hatake stepped forward. This was one of Konoha's many allies, and a few of the Konoha refugees were here. Naruto looked at the man. I suppose you know why I'm here. Yes, I know what you've been doing, said Kakashi. Are you going to stand in my way? Naruto asked. Before the copy ninja could answer, though, Naruto turned his head. Today, yes. Lois responded after telling him that the meeting was today. They were afraid that he might show up, so they hid it away. Naruto burst off the ground, blowing Kakashi back, not even continuing the conversation. As he made his way straight to where Lois was, as she was able to locate them, hidden away underground was Mei Terumi, Oniki, Ei the Raikage, and Raza. All of them being stubborn in their own right. However, Mei was trying to be the voice of reason here. After witnessing what that person has done, their combined strength proving to be greater than anything that any of them can throw at them. The tail beasts were gone. As much as the Raikage hated to announce that, he had to, showing that he was a part of this unity to crush these two that were trying to strip the elemental nation of its chakra. However, when an explosion went off, they found themselves questioning if they were found. They started to see their ninjas rushing in, their guards. They've been found out. However, as a massive tiger jumped in and ripped one of their necks straight open, the Crimson Beast gazed up towards the leaders, only for Oniki to turn it into dust by erasing it with his particle style. Before they could make a move though, the entire ceiling which was underground was ripped asunder, allowing the light to trickle down. Naruto landed down on the table. The Raikage blitzed as his hand slammed against Naruto's throat, fully powered by his lariat. However, Naruto stopped him with a single palm outstretched. Naruto gripped it and raised his left hand and sliced, tearing through it. He then spun and backhanded the man through the wall. The Kezakage swallowed Naruto within the golden dust, but Naruto spun, blowing them all away. I got you now, said Oniki, trying to reach to capture Naruto with his particle style, but Naruto vanished. Oniki was never hit so hard before, as all the air was knocked out of his lungs. Blood spewed from his nose and mouth. The old man crashed. Mei Terumi, witnessing all of that, took place in mere seconds as the Raikage got up. However, before he could make a move, they swarmed him. It was their blood soldiers. They jumped on him as he tried to tear them off with his one hand. However, they start to sludge and solidify around him, slowing him down before the next moment his entire body was buried, only the head being open. The Kezakage tried to intervene once again, but his own sand was infected by blood, constricting it and stopping it. He was shocked as he lost control. Impossible, when a small particle was able to slice a simple piece of his flesh. The moment she tasted his blood, his body seized up as he found himself unable to even move. Oniki tried to pull himself out of the wall. Rushing to his aid was Akisaki. Unable to see Kurosaki, who was caught up in the battle that was taking place outside, it was their guards. Akisaki moved towards him, but Naruto got in his way. Akisaki hit Naruto with his full force punch, but Naruto did not even move. Naruto simply blew him away with his breath, sending him across the goddamn island that they were currently residing on. He then turned his gaze towards the last member standing, Mei Terumi. However, she looked at him without the intention to fight. Seeing what happened to the others, she was against this in the beginning, as she saw their strength was something that she could not overcome. And besides, behind her, at least 20 plus of these strange warriors that were unable to be killed by conventional means. As Oniki rose up, "Surrender now, or else," Naruto said, and that was his final warning. Oniki raised both of his hands only to scream out as Naruto ripped them off. The old man collapsed on the ground in agonizing pain, soon to die. None of them were strong enough to harm him. There was nothing on this world that can truly hurt Naruto in that way. They could not tear up his mind, it was too strong. Not even Lois, who could manipulate blood, could manipulate his, because it was too powerful. The dexterity of his skin, everything on the inside reflect his powerful durability and strength as well. And they were all subdued. Naruto looked towards her. "Kill them all," he said, without hesitation. From the Raikage, the blood crystal that he was now trapped into started to squeeze until it crushed him on the inside. The Kazekage's sand wrapped around his throat as it squeezed until he collapsed down to his knees. Mei was about to go down fighting, and she knew that, despite it would be her end. "Don't worry, I won't kill you," said Naruto. "You're the only one that chose to do the wise thing here and not fight back. With that, you can continue to lead your people in the right way." "And what way is that?" she said. "We will have a conversation soon. For now, return to your home and get you and your people ready. Resistance will be met with genocide," said Naruto, as him and Lois left, leaving all of this like nothing just happened. The both of them seemed to have stopped care about everything that did not go their way some time ago. Being on your own and isolated, only trusting one another, could do that for you. For the next couple of weeks, they sped around the elemental nation, eliminating all threats, wiping out everything that stood in their way. They came across the members of the Akatsuki, one by one, and they all fell. Until Naruto lowered himself. A few feet away from him was Itachi Uchiha. As he gazed towards him, as stated before, Naruto has been monitoring the elemental nation with his super hearing and vision as well. Itachi spoke to himself. The isolation drove him mad. After all, being alone, by himself, without a purpose, without a goal, it brought the whispers of all of his dead, all of the Uchihas that he killed. Itachi was ready to fight though. "I'm not here to fight you," said Naruto. "I know what you're after. Your brother. Unlike most people, you're not as evil as many think you are. You're lucky that you talk to yourself, otherwise I would be removing your head right now." Itachi was finding something rather strange as Naruto looked him in the eyes, but Itachi couldn't find himself to control Naruto with his genjutsu. It was like his optical illusion wasn't strong enough to corrupt Naruto's mind, which was correct. "I know where Orochimaru is. We've been monitoring him as well. I can give you the revenge that you desired. I did not intervene with my home. My former home was being crushed because that place has never treated me like I belonged there. However, if my actions all those years ago was different, things wouldn't be like this. But then again, the world would not be in the state of being fixed at the moment. So I regret nothing," said Naruto. "But I will give you the chance to get your revenge and to help your brother as well. I'm sure those eyes of yours can." Itachi took Naruto up on his offer. However, by the time they arrived, Orochimaru, well, the Sannin was different nowadays. The reason why Orochimaru was hidden away, Sasuke was still alive. Orochimaru spent the past couple of years experimenting on Sasuke. Sasuke's mind was not the same anymore. The Sannin had weakened Sasuke's mind to nothingness. Completely weakened it to the point that controlling him was pretty easily. However, Orochimaru did not want that. He wanted Sasuke's body to be strong enough. He wanted to mature to levels that, when he inhabited it, he would be able to push it towards the brink of impossible and go beyond that. However, believing that he was hiding away from everyone, he was in for a rude awakening when Naruto sent him through at least 10 walls. As he crashed hard, the Sannin did not even see what hit him. Naruto's other hand was holding Itachi as he put him down, as he was holding by the back of his shirt. There they find Sasuke, unconscious, hooked up to so much machines. Itachi had moist eyes as he stepped toward his brother, removing all of these parasites. Sasuke, he said, as he gazed down towards him, but when Sasuke opened his eyes, he wasn't the same. His words made no sense. His mind, everything was broken. He looked towards Naruto. Take care of him, he said. Itachi had an idea. However, before that though, as Orochimaru was trying to escape, he was stopped by a flock of crows. He cursed under his breath. How did you find me? He questioned. Itachi wasn't in the mood to talk though, as the two started to fight. And what a fight it was. Orochimaru learning from many experiences not to gaze into those eyes. As Orochimaru has not been slacking over the years, and keep in mind he was a Sannin, and there was a problem on Itachi's part. His health was getting worse. As he summoned the Amaterasu flames and swallowed the Sannin, Orochimaru fled and escaped, shedding his skin as their battle kicked up once again. However, the second time Itachi destroyed him, Orochimaru once again returned. Itachi was getting weaker and weaker as he started to cough out blood. Orochimaru decided to attack, however, Itachi was not here to survive. Knowing that this might be his last run, he summoned it. Naruto stood there and watched as he held the unconscious Sasuke that he had to knock out. Orochimaru entered a Hydro, snake form. The thing was massive heads as he was in the center. He was trying to use it to overpower Itachi, combining a beam together that ripped apart the landscape. However, Itachi's shield, the Yadomiru, was able to deflect everything, completely unbreakable. As he summoned the blade, Orochimaru was scared, trying to flee, break down in his snake to run away, but it was too late. The blade ripped through his snake and caught onto him, grabbing his essence tightly. Sasuke started to wake up once again. The amount of drugs and things in his system, he did not stay asleep for long, it seems. Orochimaru truly did a number on him. Naruto watched as, despite the fact that Itachi was so weakened and Orochimaru was at full health, Naruto, suppose you can do anything for the ones that you care about. Orochimaru was sealed away, forever confined and bind to that sword. Itachi collapsed, but yet still he rose to his feet as he made his way towards them, trying not to show any sign of fear or pain. Fear in the death that was creeping up on him, the pain that was coursing through him. Naruto stood there as he watched Itachi get a hold of Sasuke and look into his eyes. He apologized for everything that he's done to him, everything that he's caused. However, he didn't just apologize to him. He was doing something else as Naruto saw a crow appear with a special Mangekyou. Itachi's eyes then bled into the Mangekyou for the last final time, as he seemed to be rewiring Sasuke's brain, using the mixture of his own Tsukiyomi and Shisui, Kodama Tsukame, with a mixture of another genjutsu. The strain that it was putting on him, as Naruto could see his body was about to collapse, but somehow he found the strength to continue on. Until a smile graced his features as he was still holding on to his brother. Itachi's final words were actually to Naruto, and they were for the health of his own brother. As Naruto realized his heart, it had stopped beating, but he still remained hugging on to his unconscious brother. Naruto had no idea if what he did worked. As he took the both of them, Naruto brought them to the settlement where the Konoha ninjas were. At the same time, Lois arrived, forever sealing away all of their chakra. Naruto left as he saw the pink-haired girl there. It seems by odds she had survived throughout all of this. By her sensei's side, Naruto flew away with Lois. Time skip. Things were so hectic in the elemental nation right now, as everyone was losing their chakra, and it seems like there was nothing they could do about it. The masked man, he was called, summoned by pain, as he had a way to stop all of this and use it to their advantage. However, as he arrived, the moment his feet touched the stone, he saw the hand. He felt the breaking of his mask. The speed was something that was beyond shocking for him. He activated his ability, but not before the mask completely shattered as Naruto had passed through it. The masked man, now revealed to be the long since dead friend of Kakashi Hatake, student of Minato, Obito Uchiha. Looking at his cheek where the blood was, he still was able to harm him even though he activated his ability so fast. Naruto tried to grab him again, but he was unsuccessful, passing right through him. So I've been betrayed, he thought to himself, gazing towards the adversary that was causing all of these problems. Have you joined forces with Nagato? He questioned. Naruto looked down towards him. You're insignificant in the grand scheme of everything. I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain anything to you, Naruto said. But I am going to tell you something. You want to know what's really special about my Lois? You see, when she has your blood, it's really bad for you. However, when you have her blood in your system, it's like 100 times worse, Naruto said. I've been told about your special ability, and trust me, your reaction time is not faster than mine. But we still need you for something though. Who do you think you're? Obito found himself unable to move. That's enough out of you, said Lois, placing a finger on her own lips as the masked man was quiet, not quite understanding. Go to sleep, she said. His body crumbled as Naruto caught him and placed him down right there. Stepping out of the darkness was pain as Naruto extended a hand towards him, this time waiting, looking down towards the hand. Nagato allowed himself to reach out and grab it, seeing no better alternative. So far, he was keeping to his words and bringing a future that would be better for everyone without the access of chakra. Using the masked man, they were easily able to find the remnants of the remains of the Akatsuki. However, Lois found something rather strange. The plant creature. She could dive into someone's head as long as she has their essence, their blood, and that creature wasn't normal. She found out things about this world and beyond that was truly shocking. As she told Naruto about it, he was also shocked by her words. Turns out that They were much smaller than the grand scheme of things out there in the vast, unkept universe. Over time, the entire population, their chakra was stripped away. A meeting was held. Leaders from all over of the small villages, the large villages. A new leader was constructed for each of the great nations after the genocide that Naruto committed. Many wanted to kill him, but they lacked the power to do so. They lacked the strength. Not to mention, any group that rose up was destroyed before it could even take a step. Weeks passed, months passed by, as a new order was put in place. A new system that could allow the humans to work, to build, to construct, to be able to live happy life without chakra, as Naruto personally, along with his beautiful, amazing fiancée. Naruto wanted to be with her for the rest of his life, and she was happy to be with him for the rest of hers as well. They venture around the entire elemental nation along with the backings of those that came in their inner circle. They annihilated every threat. They were going to turn the elemental nation into a utopia. And thus, they were able to change and break down the system completely. Years flew by, as Naruto was able to discover a lot. Things that he never knew in the past as well. He met his parents. All of the tail beasts were free, allowed to roam where humans should not go. As Naruto as well had the 9 tails removed from him. His body was strong enough, not to mention Lois was there to keep him alive. The Jinchurikis that were there before, they indeed survived after the removal, and Naruto was a part of that as well. He met his parents. They did not like how he reached this area in his life. They did not like what he had to do, but they saw it through his eyes. They understood why he did what he did, the way and everything was set. They did not like the fact that Konoha had to suffer because of this. But the village, the hidden leaf, the land of fire, was reconstructing, but not in the former of what it was, into an open world that people could visit, that other nations could live in. There will be no more borders that would cause international incident, that would cause war. They would just be one world united under one banner, and they will bring peace to everything around them. Throughout that time, both Naruto and Lois watch as people that they've come to know fell. However, those two remain. The constant absorbing of the yellow sun. It was causing Naruto's aging process to slow down tremendously. Over 50 plus years passed by and Naruto still looked like he was in his late teens. Now that was strange. Lois, on the other hand, the only way that she could die was if there was some sort of weapon out there powerful enough to erase every form of her essence and wipe away every single drop of blood that she ever spilled. Age would never kill her. She could allow herself to age naturally, but she wanted to be here with him forever. Naruto believed there was a solution to that. He flew into the sun. For 10 years, Naruto flew into the sun and soaked up all the energy that was pouring into his cells. When he came back, the world had grown even more. Lois, she wanted to be with him, sacrificing her time for now, for forever. That was something she would easily give up. When he returned, Naruto was different. His whole body was radiating with so much energy. They stuck around for a couple more years, as Naruto had stopped aging completely, stuck at his prime. The cells that forged into him kept his system open now, unlike before when it was drawing in the sun energy. It was simply open and radiating its own source, which made him even stronger. His power grew to heights that were just unbelievable, awakening new powers that he never even have. As the time passed by, the system started to go down a section where the world was always at peace, as many of the past died, and the new first generation was raised in a world of peace and happiness. The both of them were happy to see that, but they realized that it was time. Yes, it was time that they venture off to forge a new path into the unknown. After all, they knew about the Sasuke's and threats that lied within the cold, unkept universe. It was a surprise that none of them tried to breach this planet, due to all of the Future-cations being stopped by Naruto and the ones that he loved. Well, things were kept quiet. Both Naruto and Lois found themselves gazing at the elemental nation for the last time. The both of them were happy to believe this all started because his village wanted to kill him. Naruto hated it back then, but the chance that he got to meet her, he wrapped his arm around her and pulled her into a kiss as the both of them levitated into the sky, leaving the elemental nation behind and stepping into the unknown. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If I'm just kidding, it's over guys. I just want to say thank you all if you stuck around to this far. It's been an amazing ride, but you already know new what ifs coming out soon, so yeah, stick around and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But I'm off for now, see you guys soon. Peace.